Safety Induction. Hello and welcome to a workplace safety presentation by Engineer Mustafa El-Fatatri. Please enjoy your seat and pay attention carefully. The following induction sets out our occupational health and safety practices. The purpose of this induction is to ensure a safe place to work, visit, and the importance of work safety in your workplace at our company. By placing and implementation basic rules and employee responsibilities, basic labor safety principles, basic fire safety knowledge, actions in the event of an emergency, procedures in the event of personal injuries, and procedures for providing first aid. Aims of the induction: zero accidents, zero illness and disease, zero harm to people, zero environmental damage. By ensure all employees understand our health and safety requirements and to enable you to identify hazards that you are exposed to and control these hazards. A health and safety policy. A health and safety policy sets out the general approach and commitment with the arrangements that put in place for managing health and safety in workplace. It's a unique document that says who does what, when, and how. We are committed to protecting the health and safety of all people working at or visiting our site. We plan, manage, contact, and supervise all our work in compliance with legislation and best practice. We want to ensure that all workers have a clear understanding of their responsibilities. Personal health and safety. We all have responsibilities under the Health and Safety at Work Act 2015 and its associated regulations. It's important we understand what those responsibilities are. As the principle of our company, we must ensure you are here is safely and the equipment you use is safe. We also ensure that environment you work in doesn't adversely affect your health. Under the Health and Safety at Work Act 2015, you are responsible to keep yourself safe and ensure that the work you do doesn't cause harm to anyone else. Hazard signs and safety symbols. First, prohibition sign is a safety sign prohibiting behavior likely to cause a risk to health and safety. These health and safety signs are required to be read to show what or who is forbidden. Prohibition safety signs generally depict a black safety symbol in a red circle with a diagonal cross. Second, a mandatory sign means a sign prescribing behavior or show only what action is required. Mandatory signs generally use a white safety symbol on a blue background. Third, a warning sign. A warning sign is a type of sign which indicates a potential hazard, obstacle, or condition requiring special attention. Most warning signs are yellow and diamond shaped with black letters or symbols. Fourth, safe condition sign is a safety sign that provides information about safety measures, the location of safety equipment, the safety facility, escape route, emergency exits, first aid or rescue facilities. Signs of a safe condition have green color with white letters or symbols. We also have another safety signs like fire equipment signs, works traffic signs, multi-purpose signs, supplementary text. Fire equipment signs are used for indicating the location of firefighting equipment and how they should be used. For example, fire alarm call point, fire hose field, fire extinguisher, fire phone. Works traffic signs are the same design as public road signs. Multi-purpose signs to be used when the hazard requires more than one of the four types to convey the safety message. Supplementary text. If the safety sign needs additional information, it may be added in words. Electricity. What is electricity? Electricity is the flow of energy from one place to another in a closed circuit. Uses of electricity in our daily life. Electricity around us. It operates lights, communication, power tools, transportation, and home electrical appliances. Electricity is a form of energy that can give things to ability to move and work. Electricity. Electricity hazards, electrical shock, arcing, fire and explosion, burns. Electrical shock. Contact with underground power cables can cause involuntary muscle grip, heart fibrillation, respiratory failure, and cardiac arrest. Arcing. Direct burns as a result of being struck by the arc. Indirect burns from the radiation heat given off by the arc. Damage to the eye as a result of the ultraviolet light that is emitted by the arc. Fire and explosion. It can happen in several ways. Work near overhead power lines. Equipment may be misused. A flammable atmosphere may be present which electricity ignites. Burns. People receive burns in different ways during electrical accidents. Direct electrical burns. Use of poorly maintained electrical equipment. Indirect electrical burns. Use of electrical equipment in wet environments. Control measures. Elimination, substitution, engineering, administrative, personal protective equipment. Elimination. Elimination is the process of removing the hazard from the workplace. It's the most effective way to control a risk because the hazard is no longer present. It's the preferred way to control hazard and should be used whenever possible. Substitution. Substitution occurs when a new method or equipment that is less hazardous is used instead of another equipment that causes a hazard. The goal, obviously, is to choose a new equipment that is less hazardous than the original. Engineering. Engineering controls are methods that are built into the design of a plant, equipment, or process to minimize the hazard. Engineering controls are a very reliable way to control worker exposures as long as the controls are designed, used, and maintained properly. The basic types of engineering controls are process control, isolation from source. Administrative. Administrative controls limit workers' exposure to hazards by provide safe work areas or by implementing other rules. Examples: restricting access to a work area, restricting the task to only those qualified workers, scheduling maintenance times and exposure to hazards for times when few workers are present, using job rotation schedules, using a work rest schedule that limits the length of time a worker is exposure to a hazard. Personal protective equipment (PPE). Personal protective equipment includes items such as respirators, protective clothing such as gloves, face shields, eye protection, and footwear that serve to provide a barrier between the wearer and the exposure to hazards. Electrical power tools. Electric power tools allow you to do every job quicker than ever before. Projects that took days can now be accomplished in a matter of hours with the use of high power tools such as electric saws or drills. It's important that any power tools fit for purpose and safe to use for the task that they designed for. Power tools hazards and precaution. Checks and inspection for damage or faults should be carried out pre-start use any type of electrical power tools. Employees use power tools must wear safety glasses with side shield and additional PPE. Never use electrical power tools around water or other unsafe conditions. Don't use electrical power tools in wet places or touch it with wet hands. Avoid carrying power tools with finger in switch or carry by the cord. Do not point the portable electrical power tool to anyone. Do not use in explosive or flammable areas, nor display by portable electrical power tool. Confined space. Once a person's full body, upper body, or even his head in, is considered entry to the confined space. The confined spaces are characterized by three criteria. Space is large enough and so configured that an employee can boldly perform assigned work. Space has limited or restricted means of entry or exit. The confined space is not designed for continuous employee occupancy. Any of the following factors indicate that a workspace has a limited or restricted means of exit. The need to use a ladder or movable stairs or stairs that are narrow or twisted. A door that is difficult to open or a doorway that is too small to exit while walking upright. Obstructions such as pipes, conduits, or materials that a worker would need to crawl over or under or squeeze around. The need to travel a long distance to a point of safety. Work performed in confined spaces. Work performed in confined space such as welding, cutting, brazing, soldering, painting, scraping, sanding, degreasing, sealing, bonding, melting. Potential hazards, atmospheric hazards, mechanical and electrical hazards, physical hazards, environment, water, sand, rain, or sugar hazards. Confined space entry requirements. Step 1. Identify permit required confined spaces. Step 2. Prohibit unauthorized entry into permit required confined spaces. Step 3. Establish acceptable atmospheric conditions. Step 4. Establish atmospheric testing criteria. Step 5. Engineering controls for atmospheric hazards. Step 6. Establish control methods for physical hazards. Step 7. Establish safe entry and exit procedures. Step 8. Provide PPE and safety equipment. Step 9. Provide rescue and emergency response. Step 10. Contact training and instruction. Working at height. Working at height means working in a place where a person could be injured by falling from it, even if it is at or below ground level. Includes inspections and work undertaken on bridges, working on platforms, walkways, or plan, working on slopes, hips, height walls, working on scaffolding, climbing onto vehicles or mobile plan, climbing, working on from ladders, working on roofs. Working at height hazards. Working at height possesses high risk, and most of the fatalities recorded worldwide due to failure of fall protection measures. The hazards and factors affecting the risk from working at height include vertical distance of a fall, fragile roofs, roof lights, voids, sloping roofs, deteriorating materials, unprotected edges, unstable or poorly maintained access equipment, and adverse weather conditions. The main hazards: workers falling, materials falling. Using untrained workers without any protection from falling and unstopped services puts workers at risk of losing their balance, which can lead to workers falling and also materials falling. Control measures: assess the risks of working at height and take the necessary measures to avoid accidents by following these steps. 1. Avoid working at height completely. 2. Prevent falls using a safe place to carry out work. 3. Prevent falls using collective equipment. 4. Use personal protective equipment (PPE) for restaurant. 5. Minimize the distance the worker could fall. 6. Minimize the impact of a fall. 7. Minimize risk by undergoing training. Scaffolding. Scaffolding is a temporary structure raised on wooden or metal columns or from other materials. It's used to assist in the construction, maintenance, restoration of buildings and bridges. In another way, scaffolding is used to carry workers working in a high position, equipment, and materials used for work. Scaffolding hazards: falls due to lack of fall protection, unsafe access due to ladders, stairs, or ramps, electrocution due to proximity to overhead power lines, collapse caused by instability or overloading, injuring from falling tools, work materials, or debris. Scaffolding users protection, inspect before use, install guardrails or fall arrest system beyond 10 feet, secure open sides and ends of platform edges, never climb cross bracing to access platform, never move scaffold containing workers or materials. Stick to these rules to reduce falls.
Excavation and trenching. Excavating and trenching were going on all around us and needed for installation or repair of utility lines, replacement of water and sewer lines, even grave digging. Excavation is any man-made cut, cavity, trench, or depression in an earth surface that is formed by earth removal. Trench, narrow underground excavation that is deeper than its wide and no wider than 15 feet. Notice, all trenches are excavations, but not all excavations are trenches. Trenches are usually more dangerous. Potential hazards. 1. Adequate protection systems. Adequate sloping or shoring. Lack of shoring knowledge. Poor maintenance of shoring and detective shoring materials. 2. Materials and mobile equipment. Spoils and heavy equipment too close to the edge of an excavation can cause a cave-in. 3. Water accumulation, like saturation, hydrostatic frost action. 4. Vibration like traffic, railroad operations, heavy equipment operations, jackhammer operations. 5. Hazardous atmospheres like near landfills, sites contaminated by leaking gas lines or storage tanks or water accumulation sewers. Control measures. 1. Protective system, sloping or benching of the sites, supporting the sides with shoring or shielding system. The sloping, benching, and supporting the site with shoring or shielding system designed to protect workers from the risk of collapse by forming a side from up to the bottom of the trench depend on soil type. 2. Competent person. Protection system designed, selected, set up and monitored by a professional engineer called competent person. Competent person is a person who have a professional training, knowledge of soil analysis, testing and classifying, and the use of preventive systems. He must be able to predict the circumstances that could lead to breakdown, failure of the protective system, and a dangerous atmosphere, and has the ability to take corrective action to reduce risk or stop work when needed. 3. Safety measures. Keep heavy equipment away from excavation or trench edges. Keep spoils loads at least 2 feet from excavation or trench edges. Know where underground utilities are located. Test for low oxygen, hazardous fumes, and toxic gases. Inspect trenches at the start of each shift. Inspect trenches following a rainstorm. Don't work under raised load.
Lifting operation. A lifting operation is an operation concerned with transporting or supporting of a load, including lifting, putting down, pushing, pulling, carrying or moving. A load is the item or items being lifted, which could include four types of lift. 1. Light lifting. 2. Heavy lifting. 3. Critical lifting. Lifting by mechanical equipment. 4. Tandem lifting. Lifting by two cranes or more. A lifting operation may be performed manually or using lifting equipment. Manual lifting. Manual lifting operation means transporting load from one place to another place using bodily force. Manual lifting causes over a third of all workplace injuries. These include work-related musculoskeletal disorders such as pain and injuries to arms, legs, and joints, and repetitive strain injuries of various sorts. The do's and don'ts of lifting. First, the don'ts. Don't lift if your back hurts. Don't lift a load that's too heavy. Don't bend and arch your back when lifting or carrying anything. Don't twist your spine when holding an object. Don't lift heavy objects over your head. Lifting equipment. When someone says lifting equipment, you may be picturing crawler crane, mobile crane, tower crane, lifting trucks, and forklifts. However, the lifting equipment definition actually whose primary function is to lift or unload a load and includes any accessories used in doing.
Personal protective equipment (PPE) is incredibly important because it provides a last line of defense against injury, and it can save your life, but only if you use it. Regrettably, people continue to sustain head injuries because they don't wear hard hats. Feet are damaged because people choose to not wear safety shoes, and people foolishly risk their side because they won't wear eye protection. In this BPE induction, I'll explain why not taking BPE seriously can have devastating consequences. BPE is equipment that will protect you from job-related injuries, illnesses, fatalities. At workplace, PPE includes items like high vis, safety boots, hard hat, ear muffs, and safety glasses. If we ask why people choose to not wear PPE, for some it's uncomfortable to wear. Some people don't see the need to wear it, especially for quick jobs. And most especially for all, some people choose to put their life in danger because they think wear PPE makes them look silly. Injuries can result in permanent disabilities, blindness, or even death. So whatever the reason, there is no excuse for not wearing PPE.